Brent Pry is making changes with his Virginia Tech football staff. Tony Elliott at UVA is standing pat. Chris Graham for Augusta Free Press. Our colleague Scott German wrote a column today. I helped him with some of this here, the research on the back end of it about the big news from Virginia Tech football this week that Brent Pry, the head coach, is initiating a major shakeup with his coaching staff. Meanwhile, up the road in Charlottesville, Tony Elliott is sticking with his guys when arguably he's the one who should be initiating a major shakeup. Okay, so down at Tech, the situation is defensive coordinator, linebackers coach Chris Marve, offensive line coach Ron Crook, and the director of strength and conditioning, Gwalt, are on their way out. Marve and Gault came to Virginia Tech in 2022 with Pry as part of his initial staff. Like Elliott, he's finishing, he being Pry, his third year at the helm down there at Virginia Tech. And Pry's first O-line coach, Joe Rudolph, left to take the O-line job at Notre Dame, so Crook came on board in 2023, replacing Rudolph. Now, the dismissals at Tech came ahead of Virginia Tech's appearance in the Duke's Mayo Bowl on January 3rd, when the Hokies will face Minnesota in Charlotte's Bank of America Stadium. Second straight year, Hokies are going to be in a bowl game. Not great bowl games. I mean, they started the season. We've talked about this on the podcast. The Hokies were a sleeper pick to be in the ACC championship game. There was talk about this could be an 8-9, even 10-win team. Instead, they finished 6-6, 4-4 in the ACC, way out of the running for a spot in the championship game. But looking at the numbers, it's not like it's that the people who are being asked to, clean out their offices are the ones responsible. If anybody's responsible, any one person anyway is responsible. Overall, the defense at Tech in 2024 wasn't that bad, not to the point of putting anybody's job in jeopardy, as far as objectively looking at this. In scoring defense, this Hokies defense ranked 44th, allowing 22.8 points a game. Total defense, 58th. There's 134 teams, so we're talking top half of the nation. In fact, scoring defense top third of the nation. And then the ACC upper half, I think was fifth in the ACC in scoring defense, sixth in total defense. And yet the defensive coordinator is gone. Marve had a resume coming in that was pretty impressive. He'd been in the SEC at Vanderbilt, Mississippi State. He'd been at Florida State for a couple of years as the run game coordinator, linebackers coach. The O-line group similarly wasn't bad. The run game averaged 4.9 yards a carry, 38th nationally. And now the line did give up 29 sacks, which ranked 91st nationally. But the changes here feel like a bloodletting more than they are, okay, these guys didn't do a good job and we need to get rid of them. Many Hokies fans were adamant that Pry at the least make changes, if not Pry himself be made a change, if he'd be let go. Um, Fan bases can be edgy, as we know. Pry, after 3 years of Tech, is 16-20, um, including this year's 6-6. He does have a bowl win over Tulane last year's Military Bowl. Now this season again, Hokies came in with expectations and started 5-3, which was even at that point below expectations. They were already out of the ACC championship game race at that stage. Then lost three straight, had to beat Virginia in the season finale to get into a bowl. That happens on a regular basis. Now in the last 10 years, Virginia Tech has entered that game with Virginia six times, needing to get a win to get into a bowl. They're 6-0 in those games. On the flip side, then looking at Virginia, Elliott just completed his third year, 5-7 is actually his best record in 3 years. That's not good to say. 11-23 in 3 years. The last three Virginia coaches with a 3-year stretch winning 11 games have been fired. Elliott still has his job. And not only that, but as of right now, nothing happening with his staff. And there are lots of questions. You talk about, okay, we just went over the numbers for guys at Virginia Tech who are being asked to leave. And their numbers aren't bad. Their numbers with Virginia's two coordinators, offensive coordinator Des Kitchings, defensive coordinator John Ruzinski, objectively bad. The UVA team the offense finished 106 nationally in scoring, 22.7 points per game, 94th in total offense, 360 yards per game. 2024, not an aberration. In 2023, Virginia averaged 23.2 points a game. That was 103rd nationally because the numbers are pretty similar. The 2022 team came in on the heels of Virginia having a historically good offense Under 2021 offensive coordinator Robert Anai, who worked under Bronco Mendenhall. That team ranked, that offense was third in the nation in total offense. Um, it's not working out. The coordinator for the defensive side, John Rosinski, flown under the radar a little bit because his first defense was a top 50 nationally defense in both scoring and total yards. But his last two units have not been good. 104th nationally in total defense last year. That last year being 2023, 409.8 yards a game, 103rd nationally this year at 408.3 yards a game. Last year, 119th in scoring, 33.8. Got a little better this year, 95th in scoring, 28.8 points per game, but still not getting the job done. Now, both of those gentlemen were given extensions before this season, actually way back in January. So after last season, they had originally signed 3-year deals when they took the job in early 2022 that would have covered them through the end of the 2024 season. But now they got an extra year, 2025, which will be the coming season for UVA football. Um, I've raised the issue why, I've asked the question why. No good reason there. On the flip side, Virginia Tech and Brent Pry are cutting bait on a defensive coordinator who had a pretty good 2024 season, and they're showing the door to a couple of other guys. I guess we can say give Virginia Tech credit for trying. On the other side, while Pry is at least trying to rearrange the deck chairs on his Titanic, Tony Elliott's assuming the role of the captain, um, and he's prepared to go down go down with the ship without any changes. And it appears that Elliott and Carla Williams, his boss, at least for now, believe if you keep telling yourself everything's great, eventually it will be. As we know, it doesn't work that way.